All right, so hi everybody, welcome to my channel. I'm still here. This was originally YouTube Can Be Great, which you can. I mean, I'm not saying that you can't, but I took a brief, I guess, sabbatical from doing videos and from like posting and reviewing and things like that. And I know that some of you who still followed me actually, asked me, hey, are you going to review this? Or are you going to do that? And for a while, I just couldn't do it. Now, a lot of you followed me when I was pregnant with my first kid. Last year, I had a baby in 2022. I had my first son. And some of you followed me during that time when I discussed some of the, I guess, difficulties that I was having with me having fibroids and things like that. And the doctors letting me know that I may not be able to get pregnant. I had to have a very invasive myomectomy where I got cut open. I was in surgery for 5 hours. They were able to get a few of the fibroids out. I think they got about 3 of them besides the grapefruits out. But then they left a few in that were just too small. I think some were lodged into my spine. They just don't want to tamper with it. After that surgery, I had to take about 8 weeks to recover. I was out of work. Physically, I was just in a lot of pain. And when that was done, they told me that I had to try to have a kid within 6 months. And if I didn't, then I would get evaluated for infertility. So at that time, there was a lot of pressure, I think, on me after our marriage to kind of try and have a kid. So we had a lot of stresses from that because I think at the time my husband was also still in school, finishing up his engineering, electrical engineering at the time. And it was just, we had a lot of stressors. So now add that to our plate, it took a lot out of me. And I know that it took a lot out of him. And it also took a lot out of our marriage. Hold on a second. So, where is your pacifier, baby? There you go. There you go. There we go. Yeah. Then I had my son, and I was very happy. And y'all saw me go through my first motherhood period. A lot of you were supportive, and I was very appreciative of that. And I was trying to be a mom, trying to work, at the same time trying to keep up with these reviews and stuff like that. Some of you were very supportive and telling me to take a break and to kind of take care of myself first and take care of my kid, and that you guys would still be here when I got back. Well, about, I would say 6 or 7 months postpartum, I didn't realize I was able to get pregnant so quickly. I know people say it all the time, but considering the fibroid issue and everything that had went through with me potentially being infertile, my first son was planned, my second was not. I didn't feel mentally that I was in a position to where I could really be as comical or as happy as I was doing the videos, A lot of you don't know about content producing, but when we do content and stuff like that, we're still human beings behind the camera. And so we have to do these videos with passion in order to keep you guys interested. I didn't feel like my mental health was there. I didn't necessarily have a difficult pregnancy this time around because I was gestationally diabetic with my first baby. Diabetes is something that, runs in my family in old age, but because I got pregnant, that was something that I experienced, and it made my first pregnancy complicated, and I just went through a lot, and I didn't feel like there was a lot of support personally in my personal relationship because of all the stresses that were there. I found myself pregnant, working, taking care of a baby. I have 2 under 2 now, and my marriage was being tested, and all of this was happening like back to back to back, and my mental state was just not good. It was just not in a good place for anything. I could barely have the energy to get up and work and take care of my kid. And then I also have to worry about my stressors and my mental health, because everything that you feel during pregnancy, your baby tends to feel it. And so you try to as a parent, do what's best for your kids and do what's best for you. And then with me getting bigger and bigger, and the changes in my color in my skin, I had some places that were severely darker than the other. My stomach, my neck, I was breaking out. I had the low self-esteem that came along with pregnancy, because you just see how your body is changing. And I just did not feel like I had the support from the people that I love, my husband included. My husband ended up going out of state for a few months to work after graduating. It was a decision that we both agreed was best for the family and for his career, but we were not in a good place when that happened. The only thing I was capable of doing on a daily basis was taking care of my child, the one that I had, and trying to maintain my mental health for that. I had the baby. I had my son. February of this year, I had my second son. After having my first in 2022, early 20s, I had my second son February of this year. And I also became gestationally diabetic at the end of my third trimester. And I had to go on insulin. And again, I was still dealing with everything, you know, and I don't even know how to explain what my mental state was then. You know, I was kind of went into this depression, you know. I didn't want to, I think at some point I got to a point to where one of my friends was like, you know, good morning. And I was like, no, it's not good morning. Why am I awake? Why did you wake me up? God, why did you wake me up to this? I have to now deal with everything. And every day I spent the whole day working on building myself back up emotionally, learning to be not a hateful person, not being vengeful, not being cruel, not hunting, not attacking every single person. My husband was already getting attacked enough, you know, and I'm not really going to say exactly what I did, but, you know, that's a hearsay, but it took the hands of God for me not to just lash out at everything. I just wanted to crawl into this space. And there was something I used to do as a kid when I got depressed, because I dealt with a lot of emotional abuse. I used to go and sit somewhere in the dark in the closet and just close my eyes and pretend I was somewhere else. And I hadn't done that in years. And I got to this point where I was doing it again. You know, when he was born, because I was gestationally diabetic and because of all the stress that I was going through, he came out at 37 weeks. It was a C-section, but his lungs, he I guess aspirated meconium. You guys can look up what that is. And 9 minutes after he started crying, his lungs were not able to function on their own, and he had to be put on oxygen. And after my C-section, 3 days later, they discharged me. They did not discharge him. They had him in the NICU. And I just remember seeing him. My husband's face was draining. He didn't want to tell me what was going on top of everything that we were already dealing with. Hold on a second. You know, it was like, okay, he had IVs in his little arm. He had to have a tube down his throat to get oxygen directly to his lungs. His lungs the x-rays came out like his chest were clouded. It was this powder white thing. He had a feeding tube going up his nose, and he also had jaundice. And then they didn't give him any sedatives to help him calm down, because he said that it would force the machines to do the breathing for him, and his lungs had to take time to develop to the level that they're supposed to be at. And I just had to sit there and watch my baby go through this. Nope, just have something down your throat constantly. The only respite you get is when you're taking a nap. And because your baby, you're sleeping frequently, but he's crying and you can't hear the tears because there's something down his throat. You know, at some point, I think one of his veins gave out because it was just so tiny that they had to now switch it and put it in a different one. He constantly was trying to pull this big tube out of his throat. He was constantly trying to pull it out because he was uncomfortable. So they had to now secure his arms as well, as tiny as they are. And it was so much on my plate that mentally I could not function and make these videos for you guys and be here for you guys and be as comical as I was and be as charismatic as I was. And when I do my reviews, sometimes I do offer advice, and some people have already messaged me and say, hey, what do you think about this situation? What would you do about this situation? I'm a human being like everybody else, so I have to be realistic about what could happen in every situation. How can I, in my mind, sit here and review what's going on in other people's lives when I have to fix my own? And I have to make sure that my mental health is okay. So we had to deal with this. And for 25 days, while we're going through this process, we had to also go back and forth to the NICU, because that's how long my son was in the NICU after birth. 25 days, racking up a bill that was like $300 and something thousand. And I was just like, thank God for insurance, but I still don't want to pay the 20% that they gave me to pay. It was just so much. And I'm just thinking to myself, this country, all this money you're charging for, y'all are not good for, y'all over here talking about that, we're for the people. There is no way in God's green earth that a baby who needs to be saved should be cost $300 and something thousand worth in bills. For who? It was ridiculous, but that was essentially what happened. And so I'm happy to say that he came out healthy. He did fight through this. He did, God is good. I really had to, my faith was tested. He's doing really well. He's strong, he's big, he's going on 13 pounds. Very playful laughs. He looks exactly like the spitting image of my husband. We named him Genesis because it was new beginning for us. My other son is doing great. He's walking. He's a big dude. He walks around the house like a grown man. Like he's on his own thing. He eats, sits at the table, doesn't want to sit on the baby chair, stands up and wants to eat with the rest of his siblings. That whole feminist idea, I'm a strong black woman. I can do everything. I'll be all, and I got into that mode because I almost felt like I was in survival mode. I had to do whatever is necessary to survive. The only reason I'm even doing this explanation is because a lot of you have been loyal to this channel and have followed me for a considerable amount of time. And I'm sure some of you are wondering what happened to this woman. And I wanted to let you guys know just a little bit of what I had to deal with. I didn't let you know every single aspect of it, but it was a lot. Everybody has to do the work on themselves to be able to progress in life. And, this is just what it is. I'm happy that I came out of this strong. I'm happy of the changes that I've made. I'm not happy of what triggered all of this, or the level of depression or the level of stress that I've had to deal with from trying to get pregnant and having all these issues to this and being depressed and all these other things. I'm not happy about those things, but I'm happy that I was able to fight through it. And I'm very grateful to God about the I would say the progress that my family and I have made. So for me, I think that I'm going to get back to doing reviews. I'm also going to get back to doing commentaries. I know that Real Housewives of Atlanta just started, so I'm going to watch the first episode. I am going to review it. I may review it a little bit later because I'm also having to work, and now I have 2 under 2, so I'm also taking care of them. And my mental health is going to come first no matter what, but I'm going to give you guys as much as I can give when I can give it. And I thank you so much for actually being understanding and knowing that, we are human beings behind this camera. I'm not about the bullying situation. I will just hit block and move on. I really don't. I'm in a different space where I'm just not in the mood for crap. I'm going to give you content. I'm going to give you positivity. I'm going to give you some negativity if it has to be said. You know what I'm saying? But moving forward, I'm still here. And so that's why I say I am still here. Okay? Nothing in this world is going to break me. Nothing in this world is going to get to me. I will do the work and take the time that I need. And I thank you guys so much for your support this whole time and for really being there as patrons, really standing by me and understanding, what the circumstances are, and I will say this, that we never know what somebody's going through. You know what I'm saying? So we can review reality TV shows all the time and we can talk about it because it's put on TV, so we're allowed to talk about it. But everybody goes through trials and tribulations, and I am going to talk about, how people behave on TV and stuff like that as a joke. But for me, this was my experience. I went through several levels of just chaos, back to back to back. Like I said, domino effect. When one thing goes wrong, the devil just tries you and he just pulls every aspect out of the woodwork, so you really have to deal with things the hard way. So yeah, I love my family and I love where things are going. I love, all the kids that we have and everything like that. But it took time. You have to learn to appreciate what you have and then grow it, So this is where we're at. I'm also writing again. I had stopped for a long time because I was like, I had writer's block. I was like, what am I going to do? I stopped everything except for what helped me survive and what helped me feed my family and what helped us really, you know, made things work. So this is where we're at. I have not been reviewing Basketball Wives either because of it. I don't even know if I want to even, I'm not going to review the old episodes because I think it's just crazy. At best, I might do the reunion, and that's, you know, I don't even know what's going on with that show. I don't even think they should even keep having it going, but as long as it's a part of reality, I'm going to talk about it. But thank you guys again for support, and I hope that this video gives you some perspective of why I left, and you know, I'm gonna be, and hopefully you look forward to seeing the other videos as they come, because I am gonna be reviewing and I'm gonna be doing what I do best. All right, bye.